I think the opening of the Iranian Resistance office in Washington in and of itself is symbolic of the enormous contribution that you all have made. I think the opening of this office promises more efforts, more work, and if we are to seek more victories, we have a lot of work ahead of us.
With the failure of the decade-long policy of engagement with Tehran, reflected in the latest round of talks in Almaty, it is now time to direct all efforts toward democratic change in Iran. The United States must stand with the Iranian people as they stand for liberty. It is fully aware that the MEK in general and the residents of Ashraf and Liberty in particular will play a decisive role in any development inside Iran. These realities on the ground speak to the fact that the arc of history is favoring the Iranian people. They are angry, ready, and struggling for a democratic change. That is why the Iranian resistance, its platform and its objectives, articulated by Mrs. Maryam Rajavi, the NCRI president-elect, are on the winning side of history.
That what we're about is to reverse a series of wrongs and make them right. The first one that was reversed was the delisting. That took an exceedingly long time, but it was achieved. The second wrong that should be righted is the aftermath of the move from Camp Ashraf to what we call Camp Liberty, which I have a hard time using that word in connection with the conditions that the people who live in that camp are being subjected to, not only physically, but psychologically, emotionally, and from a humanitarian basis alone. It is wrong, and it should be righted. And countries like ours all over the world should rally and send a clear, unequivocal message, not only to Tehran, but to Baghdad, that this kind of behavior is unacceptable. An attack on that camp is unacceptable. It's unacceptable at Ashraf. It's unacceptable at Liberty.
It has been a long struggle to get to this point where the NCRI and others can now carry on a campaign really here in the United States to further their efforts to get representative government in Iran. And why, among the many other attributes of the work that the NCRI has done, how important it is to have a declaration that they want tomorrow's Iran to be nuclear weapons free. This is something I think every American can share as an objective, and I look forward in the days and weeks and months ahead to continuing to work on this issue. It's been something I think that really has been inspiring to meet the many Iranian Americans and people in the Iranian diaspora around the world.
But the road to a free Iran, which changes not only the future of the Iranian people, but the region, in some ways the world, runs through this office. Make no mistake, it starts at Ashraf and Liberty with those brave souls who refuse to give in under threat of their own lives, who dream of a free Iran and are prepared to pay the price to get it. They have my highest admiration. People in Liberty, stay true. We will get you safety and we will get you security. Until then, your determination to remain there with your friends and family until they too are safe has our highest praise.
But anyways, I just wanted to say that the Congresswoman will continue working along in a bipartisan basis with her colleagues. Overwhelming support to bring freedom and democracy to Iran. The Iranian people deserve freedom and democracy, and I know that she will continue working hard to make sure that that day comes, as the ambassador said, very, very soon.
From now on, the people of Iran will have an embassy in Washington, D.C. that will speak for their interests and the causes and cares of their people. Most importantly right now, the people trapped in Camp Liberty and Ashraf, who are seeking to be guaranteed their rights under the Fourth Geneva Convention, promised to them by the United States of America. So this office will be the standard bearer of the message that the United States must keep true to its word and provide protection and safety for the political refugees in Liberty and Ashraf.
And so today, when I see what is happening at what is wrongfully called Camp Liberty, what I see is happening to the residents of the Mujahideen, I'm extremely disheartened. America had an obligation then, and in my mind that is a responsibility that continues. We declared under the Geneva Convention that they were protected persons. At what point does that obligation cease?
There's nothing that has mattered to me more than the individual stories that I have heard throughout the travels around the country. This is as much a victory for your continued efforts as it is for those who have worked here so vociferously and so hard and so successfully.
And of course, we're here because there is yet another policy option, which is democratic change in Iran. And this is the toehold to develop that potential policy option, and it's significant that now we have another voice for the Iranian people, as Patrick was talking about. That the voice for the Iranian people on a global stage is Maryam Rajavi. So this is what gives us hope.
This is a significant accomplishment, long overdue. And I think when change comes, not if, but when change comes to Iran, it will be the NCRI, the MEK, that implements that change. It's time for change. We're done talking. We need to demonstrate that we will no longer tolerate what they are doing there in terms of their own people and in terms of what they do in the region, not to mention the entire world. Let's change. And when that change comes, it will be the NCRI and the MEK.
I wanted to add just one thought, which has been alluded to by others, and that's this, that in addition to whatever prospects this office represents for the change, ultimate regime change in Tehran and change in U.S. policy toward Iran.
And what became apparent to me as I was watching Madam Rajavi speak just now was, despite the enormous difficulties, despite the enormous hardships, there's absolutely no rancor. There's no sense of recrimination. And to me, it's amazing that despite these tribulations, you have the moral fiber to continue to be so positive, to keep your eye on the ball. And the ultimate ball, of course, is freedom.
I do think that movements evolve, they gain their voice. And this block, 17th and what are we, K? We're half a block from the White House. It really is, in fact, the center of town. And I do think that you'll gain much more attention than heretofore. It's not a fringe movement anymore. It's a matured movement that has committed itself to democratic values, happens to be led by a woman, that ain't bad, and a woman ambassador.